Around the Horn, an ESPN staple show that I grew up on, has been canceled. Why?
Okay, but do you sense the show is heading in a different direction? Why it got canceled. It's such a great show. And it felt like, was there too much money being spent, or was it too woke?
Too much money elsewhere. I mean, there certainly wasn't money. I can tell you that. I mean, the woke it's a fine headline to write. I don't believe what that is. I honestly think we did 50,000 topics over 23 years. Yeah. If you're going to tell me 10 or 15 drew an eyebrow up, I'll be like, yeah. I mean, we were doing some complex topics from time to time. I don't mute people in FaceTime. So maybe there's 2 or 3 there that didn't have the back and forth you would want. Maybe there's 1 or 2 I would take back if you asked me. Those aren't my regrets.
The right wing wants you to believe it is because of their favorite word, woke. Spoiler, it is not. But take former panelist Jay Mariotti, a Chicago sports writing staple as well. Mariotti decided it was because of wokeness that this show got canceled. And in his Substack, he would write this, and I quote, "A television show is accompanied by mushy political overtones. Today, let's undo the critical fraud. When I appeared on Around the Horn for 8 years, I believe it was from 2002 to 2010, we settled into bigger ratings. Why? Because we had fun, because we were entertaining, because we fired on each other, or at least I fired. Each quarter brought an increase. At one point, close to 1 million viewers daily. I was on almost every day. My life changed, such as the time I upset Snoop Dogg." Let me just stop here for a second. Okay. He's playing up the ratings game. Well within his right. Fair to do. I think what is also rather crushing is that he's saying they're getting close to 1 million viewers. First Take sometimes doesn't even get 1 million viewers. McAfee won't even get 1 million viewers. And that's not to crap on McAfee and First Take. It's to tell you that the times, they are a-changin'. Mariotti benefited from being in the golden era of sports television, where in 2002, we didn't even have the internet to watch sports unless you had something prior to it being what it is now called Sling TV. Let me just paint this picture very, very, very quickly. I had to coordinate with my mom when I was at school. Okay? At college. Because, to be specific, because Sling had 2 little antennas that would go over the cable box, and you could install it on your computer. So when I was away, I could watch the Blackhawks, the Cubs, the White Sox, the Bulls. Bears were national television, or we went to a bar to watch it. We can't do that anymore. Or we can do that now, but the game has changed because television right now is so broad and wide, and more importantly, there are so many choices that we do not have to, if we want to get our sports fix in, listen to basically 2 sports radio channels and 2 sports television channels to get our fix. So like this whole thing about the ratings are the problem, and the ratings, that is a model that is never coming back. Ever. So to make this argument is wrong. Profoundly wrong. Onward. The show became god-awful boring, he wrote. 7 or 8 people became 18 or 23 or 30. Who were they? Were they sports writers or performers or stick figures? Why were they? They were not. Why were they so damn pretentious? That's rich, coming from him. They mused more than they spoke with freedom, as I always did. And somehow they became involved in discussions that fatigued viewers. Some were woke. Some were on dope. No one cared anymore. 23 years, by the way, is a great run. But whether speaking in hyperbole or not, if that's how he really feels, saying no one cared anymore is completely asinine. Also, I want him to define woke. Because if he's saying, and he will a little bit later in this piece, I'm going to read an excerpt. It sounds like his understanding of woke is, and if he sees this in response to this, I guarantee he'll look it up and do a little bit more research. But at this juncture, with what he has put out, it sounds like woke just means speaking politically on sports, which, by the way, number one, sports has always been political. You can go back centuries ago. Secondly, I think what a lot of people don't understand or comprehend is the fact that Donald Trump also made sports hyper political. There's a total disconnect here that the Mariottis of the world do not see. Because when Trump is going after Colin Kaepernick and making those players afraid and fearful to protest systemic racism and police brutality and the mistreatment of veterans, I mean, who is that not a topic worth discussing? Is them, as in the current administration, omitting Jackie Robinson on the DoD website and then putting him under a new website which has DEI in it? Is that not a story worth discussing? I think what he wants is for for these sports writers who maybe take the final 40 seconds of a 30-minute show, 22 minutes that they're on the air, where if they win, they say things like this, where Mina Kimes will basically analyze how it was a bad decision, or when McAfee is on for hours and Jeff Passan, who broke the story, is asked by the host and he speaks on it. Like, I don't understand where he's coming from with this. It's just odd to hear. Then he would praise himself because, of course, no one was more combative on the air. That's why I was in the lineup every day, as directed by Eric Rydholm and Aaron Solomon, who later welcomed variety and less individuality. Did the producers think the program was about them? He adds, without me, the show became tedious, only to appease what is left of media writers who also are tedious. The daily ratings dropped by hundreds of thousands. Again, we address the ratings, and he's patting himself on the back here. It is quite a charge, though, you know, what he's saying, because speaking of charges, in 2010, Jay Mariotti was charged with 7 misdemeanors in connection with a domestic disturbance involving his girlfriend. ESPN's write-up included 2 counts of DV with injury, 2 counts of DV, yes, 1 count of grand theft, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 count of vandalism. In the end, per CBS News Bay Area, where he would later take a job, he pled no contest on 2 separate occasions and avoided jail time. Some of his other thoughts. Max Kellerman was better for us than Tony Reale, he told Front Office Sports. Another parting shot was this. John Skipper ran ESPN at the time. I think what Skipper wanted from some of the shows was he started to install people on the shows who became anti-Trump. Can I put it that way? What way would you like to put it? You were never going to get me on ripping the president or praising the president. We're not going that far. I started to watch the show and I would see people down and out anti-Trump. I'm not going to tell you whether I'm a Trump guy or not. That's really irrelevant. I did not want to watch a sports show and see it delve into that. And I think it started at the top from management at the time, that they wanted this to be the tone of the show. Jamil Hill had her say, Michael Smith had his say. I was like, can we get back to this? So he wants them to shut up and talk about sports. Jamil Hill saw this and tweeted in response, I don't really appreciate Jay Mariotti bringing my name into this, or my friend Michael Smith. For one, I don't even know Jay like that. Secondly, I started doing Around the Horn in 07 or 08. Trump obviously not in office then. So to suggest that ESPN started putting anti-Trump folks on the show on purpose is just a dumb statement. The beauty of the show is that it was a mechanism to get a variety of voices on air. It has launched and furthered so many careers, including mine, Hill wrote. Having a run of over 20 years in sports TV is a testament to what an institution this show became. When Dre Baldwin would reply, you're on TV, if you're one of the people he's referencing for what he sees as the downfall, he doesn't need to know you. What he actually said is that Skipper was looking for people who had that potential anti-Trump leaning. And third, your point about the value of Around the Horn for certain careers is valid. His points about it losing its direction is also valid, so she would fire back. You don't have any valid points when the reason you were fired from the show is because you caught a felony case. A reminder that I worked there and you didn't. The creator of Around the Horn also created PTI. ESPN was licensing both shows from this creator, and he was given full control over the talent who appeared on the show. Around the Horn was a news of the day show, And I can tell politics rarely came up on that show because it simply didn't fit the format. Just like many others, what Mariotti wanted to say was that the show went downhill when too many of us, as in not white people, started appearing on Around the Horn. Considering the hundreds of personalities that have appeared on the show during its 20-plus year run, you just so happen to single out 2 of the black folks. Yeah, I see this play from a mile away. The years in which I regularly did the show were long before Trump became president. I got my own show in 2013, could not do Around the Horn because I was busy. I popped my head in here and there for old time's sake, but that was about it. So why are you bringing me into it? It's a lazy, uninformed take, which shouldn't be surprising considering the source. For reference, Dre Baldwin, whoever he may be, is a reply guide to Jason Whitlock where he rips Angel Reese in the comments. So there you have it.